Three, two, and one. All right. So we are live. Mario, there is some background noise. You perhaps will have to unmute yourself. Uh,
Yeah, I had unforeseen condition. I'm at the hospital. My wife just had a baby yesterday, so
oh,
Congratulations.
I was a little lucky to join today, but we were born a little early. But you can't plan these events, so I'll do my best to mute on and off.
Excellent. Thank you so much for coming over. First of all, many congratulations, Mario. You're fantastic news. Guys, and thank you very much for coming over and giving it special attention, especially on the day when your baby is born and you are in the hospital and still taking care of this fabulous cause where we're trying to help people with your knowledge. Guys, my name is Amit Kaushal. I'm a co-founder of a company called Enalito, and we have a Shopify app which helps you in marketing, which helps e-commerce companies in marketing, sales, identifying problems related to poor ad spend and many other issues. We also help e-commerce companies in analytics, making sure their ROI is high and making sure that their sales grow month by month and year on year. So we have gotten 5-star on Shopify, and we got also have apps for WooCommerce, BigCommerce, Magento. That's about me and my company, folks. I would like to request Michelle to tell us something about herself and her business.
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Michelle Dalvon. I'm the founder of a company called The Black Owned Market, and it is a curated shopping destination that helps you to discover Black-owned brands. We started in 2016 in New York City as these big experiential pop-up markets where you can actually come in person and shop different Black makers. And now it has evolved into an e-commerce website. And we're currently in Hudson Yards Mall, taking over half of retail space at in partnership with Beta, a company called Beta/Forum. And hopefully we'd be raising money soon to open up our own brick and mortar spaces.
Excellent. Wonderful. So, Michelle, do you also sell online?
Yes, I have a website via Shopify.
Shopify.
Mm-hmm.
How long you been selling on Shopify?
Since 2019.
19. So was that so? And you started business from online itself?
I actually started as a in-person brick and mortar experiential event. I then, seeing the response of the in-person event, transferred into online and selling the products of the makers that I actually featured.
Interesting. So Michelle, tell us something about your why. Why are you doing what you are doing?
Yeah. So my why is largely due to my community and the Black community. We have 1.0 buying power, the highest buying power amongst any demographic, but only 2 cents of that goes back into Black-owned businesses. And I wanted to create a space to make them Black businesses easier to discover to the world, and also just to gain the support in the entrepreneurship realm, because I feel like a lot of times we're cast out of those conversations that lead to wealth building and wealth generation for our communities, because we do not have access. So I wanted to provide access to Black-owned brands.
Wonderful. Great cause, Michelle. All the very best. Yeah. We'll circle back to you with more questions. Thank you for setting up the context. Great talk.
No problem.
Thank you very much. Mario, over to you. Mario, first of all, congratulations again for your baby, and it's doing a fabulous thing by being here as well, and also being in the hospital. Congratulations. So it's a boy or a girl?
It's a girl. It's a girl.
Excellent. Wonderful. Fabulous. God bless you, and God bless you and your girl. Tell us something about your business, Mario.
Well, first, thanks for having me on, and I apologize for the background noise. I am in the lobby of a hospital. This is the only place they would allow me to set up camp here. and I didn't want to wake the baby. That's actually more important. So, so I launched Servscape March 19th, first day of spring, 2020. It's an online garden store, and we're really trying to be the plant delivery system for, we're starting in Atlanta, Georgia market, which is one of the largest landscape markets to begin in. And think of us like the Uber of plants. So we deliver plants and other garden necessities for people that really they can't purchase without sort of that in-home or in-store experience. So we're trying to pierce the digital veil in a way and provide a service that aggregates all farmers within a geographical area. So the tree farmer, the shrub farmer, the annual farmer, and bring everything to an online platform where customers, both residential and commercial consumer and businesses, can purchase their online garden needs, and we deliver it right to their site or house.
Fabulous, fabulous. You're doing a fabulous job of giving livelihood to people in a particular area, the farmers, and you are giving them platform to sell on your platform. Is that right? Is that a marketplace?
Yeah, it's sort of like a marketplace. We do disclose who grew it, but we're kind of labeling it under ourselves. Just as important is who grew it, is how they grew it. So we really kind of lead with a lot of ecological literacy. We're really trying to share with our customers and our clients how things are grown and sort of to what degree of ecological integrity. But then also to Michelle's point, who grew it and where it was grown was also very important. We work with a lot of small farmers that might miss the big box retailers. And so we're capturing the long tail, if you will, of 90% of the farmers that aren't in these big boxes and trying to equitably give marketplace opportunities to everyone that's growing in our area.
Fabulous, fabulous, Mario. Great work. Thank you so much for putting this right context. Tell us your why, Mario. What's your why? Why are you in the plant business?
Well, as a landscape architect.
And what have you been doing before?
Yeah, I'm a landscape architect, University of Georgia, educated landscape architecture school, both bachelor's, master's. Also have a master's in environmental planning. I saw a great need for one sort of macro here, globally, environmental resilience. We are faced with a litany of challenges, both chronic situations like drought, and there's too much rain, flooding, but then also some very catastrophic events. Some one-time challenges of not in our area, but hurricanes, and also in our area, tornadoes. And so I think that building landscape resilience, giving access to marketplace where it's very, very difficult for most of our homeowners to get access to fruit trees, food producing things, things that are butterfly or bee friendly, and then providing that education, and then providing all the tools and education that is required to build that resilient beautiful and resilient landscape around these places. We see it as a mission of beauty and resilience. And that's one of the reasons why we did Servscape. But more importantly, I think that there was just a really big market opportunity. We're the first in the online marketplace of this type of industry to bring real-time inventory and real-time prices to both residential and commercial clients.
Fabulous, Mario. Great. I mean, beauty and resilience. Beautiful words and beautiful work you're doing for yourself, for the people around, and for the world. A great job. Looking forward to talk to you more in the coming along the webinar. Thank you so much again. Spike, over to you.
Hi.
Hey, good morning to you.
Good morning.
You're still doing your first coffee?
I am. It's 6 o'clock.
All right. Thank you so much for coming over so early, and I'm really grateful that you could come over early. Tell us about yourself and your business.
I'm Spike Goldberg. I started in internet marketing in 2000, I think. I've started several internet-based businesses. This current one that I'm running is a furniture company. Our goal is to get people efficient furniture to live in small spaces. And the concept of our furniture is it's like Legos. You take an ottoman and you bring it together with another ottoman and it makes a bed. And you take another ottoman and you make a chaise lounge and so on. So we created this concept and we've gone into the market, and we've been doing this since 2012, I want to say. And in the last 2 or 3 years, we've really accelerated our business online and grown.
Fabulous, fabulous. So you're on Shopify, or what platform do you use?
I've used all the platforms, but currently we're using Shopify. We found that was the best. We left, what were we on? I don't remember what we were on before, but we moved to Shopify specifically for Shopify's features. And from there, we saw an increase in our business like overnight. It was actually quite nice.
Excellent. So Spike, you guys are funded or bootstrapped?
No, it was bootstrapped. It was horrible. This business started with, private, like our own, money that we threw into it. And most of that money at first went to developing the product. And then from there, most of our money now goes to marketing and growth.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned that you have been in the internet business since the bubble burst from 2000.
Oh, I missed it before. It was wonderful.
Right. So what were you doing before the furniture business?
I ran a couple other businesses, marketing businesses. I still own them. They do reoccurring sale revenue for membership-based products. And I don't use Shopify for that, though.
Okay. All right. Interesting. Thank you very much, Spike. I look forward to talking to you more in the webinar. Michelle, coming back to you, tell us, are you also selling on Amazon? You on mute, Michelle.
Yes. No, I'm not selling on Amazon. I find that because I'm a marketplace, I don't have my own individual product. It wouldn't make sense for me to sell on Amazon, but a lot of the business owners and the retailers that I house on my website actually do sell on Amazon as well.
Mm-hmm. So do you compete with Amazon in that case?
I would say yes and no. I mean, who really does compete with Amazon? I just feel like they have they have a monopoly over the whole market. I think what I do is very specialized and niche, and a very specific customer would come to me because they're looking to discover and shop with Black brands. I think what Amazon does is they sell from all different kind of retailers, which is great. So my expertise really lies in serving the niche and the business owners and people that want to discover them.
As a marketplace, which is specifically targeting to a very specific segment in the US, what are the top 3 KPIs, key performance indicators in your business? Do you look for? Do you monitor?
So the top KPIs for me when we weren't in a pandemic was how many people actually bought tickets to come to our experiential events. So there are really big events that we have sponsors for. So we've worked with Airbnb, Google, Jack Daniels, just to name a few in the past, to really create a camaraderie around Black businesses and why they exist and how you can shop with them. So events, in addition to that, we're an online business, it's definitely sales, and seeing how many people are actually buying our products. We launched a subscription box service. So it has been really successful. So people have been subscribing to get products sent to their home every month. And also, I think the third thing would be returning and repeat customers and seeing how many people actually come back to purchase items on our website.
Repeat purchase rate and customers who are coming and buying from you.
Yeah.
All right.
That's
So
true.
do you really have competition in the US?
I would say yes, we definitely do, especially after this summer and everything that was happening with the George Floyd protest. People began to shine a light on what they can do and help and support in the Black community. So there are a lot of marketplaces that are actually, I would say 4 or 5 that do what I do. So yeah, I would say there is some competition.
What is your niche? How are you different from them?
I would say that we are experiential first. I think brick and mortar can be very antiquated in the way that is, a typical department store is very old in the way that people go there. It's just they're probably not going to really just shop anymore. People really want a reason to come out of their homes. So when you come to a space that is curated and designed by the bomb, it's very different from any shopping experience that you have discovered. And we really want our customers to feel like they come first, and we gave them a reason to come out of bed and come and actually shop with us in person.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Excellent, Michelle. Thank you so much for all the information. This was helpful.
Yeah.
Spike, coming back to you again. You've been doing this business for 8 years now. Do you believe in putting businesses in autopilot mode and then relaxing or moving on to a next business? Should that be the aim of a person like an entrepreneur, to put businesses on autopilot and just move away for a vacation for 6 months?
I don't think you want to put a business on autopilot and move away on vacation. I think you want to go on vacation and kind of run your business on the vacation. I think that's ideal. I'd like to think that businesses don't have to autopilot. I'd like to think that you can get them to a place that are reasonably manageable, especially with the internet and automation. And, I tend to think that a business is like a child. You grow it up and it gets on its own, and it should kind of almost self-sustain itself and make itself money and perpetuate itself through the years if it's done well.
There's also a concept of entrepreneurs paying people more than they pay themselves.
Yeah, well, yeah. So hopefully you don't have to work all the time. I mean, it's impossible. When I was younger, I used to want to own 5 companies and run them all at the same time. But as I got older, I realized that was impossible to do. So you have to get to a point where you can leave a business in the hands of other people, which is the hardest thing to do as an entrepreneur, because it's your baby, and you never know what's going to happen. And I've been in business long enough to tell you everything possible.
Mm-hmm. So do you, in next 2 years, 5 years, do you plan to exit businesses? Do you sell businesses, or what do you do with the business when the business is mature?
Right. I probably would. Maybe one of my businesses at some point I'll sell, but the others, until I'm kind of done running them, I think I'll work them. I enjoy them, and they're giving me the ability to kind of have a flexible life. So I can't see myself wanting to let go of those cash, making money that way, especially with the return, if I'm getting a good return on my money.
Fabulous. One last follow-up question on this. You said I sell my businesses when I'm done.
Yeah.
How does an entrepreneur realize that they're done now? They should not be overdoing it.
I think one of two things. One, the amount of money you're making on something versus the amount of stress you're putting into it, even if it's a passive thing, that is a big indicator. If the business is just taking too much of your time or causing you too much stress and it's not giving you enough viv to life, then what's the point of keeping it? I think that's actually that's the answer, is when it ages to a point, you just, there's only so much you could do. Some businesses continue to grow with new management. They come in and they have a different idea and they could take it in another direction. And then, sometimes you've done something for 15 years and that creativity is just not there anymore. So.
Thank you for that perspective, Spike. Really appreciate it. A lot of people can learn from this, because entrepreneurs generally do things. They keep doing it. They don't know when to stop, when to exit, when not to exit, what to do, how to hire people. Can they trust their business with somebody else? We all can learn from your experience. Thank you very much for that. Mario, over to you, man. Do you sell on Amazon, Mario?
No, we do not. Just on Shopify.
Why?
Just really the nascent nature of our business and where we are in our timeline. We're starting on Google Shopping next week. And so we started March 19th, same week a global pandemic was announced. We really didn't know how this was going to go. So we're still kind of weighing out all of our options and next steps, but Google Shopping is on deck for next week.
Fabulous. All the best. So do you think Amazon will also come on your charts in the weeks to come, or in the months to come?
Yeah, I think as soon as we sit, it's really kind of more of tied to our geography, because we're just within Atlanta, 60 miles of Atlanta and 30 miles of a neighboring city called Athens, Georgia. Our geographical footprint is relatively small for a platform like Amazon. So as we grow and we scale to other metropolitan cities, we will revisit Amazon as a platform for sales.
What do you do for your marketing?
Well, email is a big part of our marketing. We have what we call the Pentagon plan. It's 5 points of marketing that defend our brand. We feel that as soon as somebody gets introduced to it, at that point, we know that we're going to be a better or leader in the marketplace. So at that point, we just need to defend our brand marketing. So we do email, we do a number of videos, all the social channels. We do a lot of phone calls and basically what we call the Chick-fil-A breakfast. Of course, that with the pandemic, that stymied a lot of our opportunities there. And there's a number of others, but really we're just trying to create great content and look at all these different delivery channels, again, just to defend and reintroduce our brand to our really community that we're trying to forge.
So, and what's your ROAS? ROAS?
Can you repeat that?
ROAS, return on ad spend. If you're spending $100 on Facebook, how much money do you get back? How much business do you get back?
Right now, we're somewhere between 2.8 and 3.2. So we've been very successful in many regards. No, we don't know if that's COVID dependent, because if you can imagine, we were labeled an essential business this summer, whereas many retail shops in Atlanta were actually closed due to COVID. So we were the only option. So we believe that we're playing with some skewed numbers. So we really won't know good numbers, I think, until this spring. And the landscape, because we deal with live goods, we're very, very seasonally dependent. Our biggest 60% of our sales is going to come from March to May. So just in 3 months. So if you can imagine, what do we do in those other times? Of course, we're adding additional products that are more year-round basis, but we are trying to develop that community, that dialogue with our customers and our overall audience, so that when those 3 months come, everybody's knowledgeable about what they're going to buy at that point in time.
Great, wonderful. And so, and which are your Shopify favorite apps on Shopify?
Favorite apps on Shopify, we're using Klaviyo as an email platform. We've been very impressed with Klaviyo. We've been very impressed with some of the bold apps, membership app. We do different pricing for different customers. So at login, depending on what type of volume you do with our company, you get to see different prices. So bold apps makes a product for that. And those are, I'd say those are the two at the cream of the crop for us right now.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Mario. That's helpful. People can definitely use some of your knowledge and implement in their businesses.
One other amazing app. It's our favorite app. So we want to use Airtable. We decoupled our backend data management from Shopify, and so we use Airtable. But my favorite app is called AirPower, and that's a syncing app that enables our backend to speak to our Airtable backend to speak to Shopify in nearly real time. It's about a 4-hour lag. So that's been amazing. That enables us to create multiple stores with our online. So if we want to white label our site to existing brick and mortar garden retailers, we can do that and have the same backend inventory management system. And again, the app that enables that for us is called AirPower.
Fabulous. That's great. I didn't hear of that. That's a great piece of information, Mario. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's a great news. Michelle, over to you. So you are doing a marketplace, very specific marketplace, very specific people. Are you guys funded or bootstrapped? Michelle, you are on mute.
Sorry, my internet's a bit unstable right now. Can you repeat the question?
Are you guys funded or bootstrapped?
Oh, we are fully bootstrapped. Yeah, fully bootstrapped. I've been trying to go the VC angel route, but it hasn't been successful yet. So continuing the fun bootstrap journey.
Are you making profit or you're still putting in money?
Making profit.
Making profit. So that's really, it is at least sustainable that you do not have to go to an investor in distress.
Exactly.
That's great. So in retrospection, if you had to think that why perhaps you could not get funding from an investor, what do you think are the top reasons or top issues you can work on so that you can convince somebody to invest in your business?
I don't necessarily think it's something I have to work on. I think when you get the right investor, they understand and they get it. I think it's just being in the right rooms and having access to the right people. Because honestly, I've done everything I think I've needed to do. Of course, there's always room for improvement and no one's perfect. But I think the investment piece comes down to finding the right investor.
So you are doing a marketplace from Shopify. Did you also try other platforms for marketplace before Shopify?
I've considered others, but Shopify just made it so much easier for me, especially as someone who's not a developer. I hired somebody to help me kind of plug and play and do some customization. And I'm actually reworking my website now with my designer and developer. But for someone who doesn't have a development background, and I just need to make quick changes on the site, it made it very user friendly for me to just do that and not have to hire someone, especially while I'm bootstrapping the business.
Mhm. All right. So are you keeping everything in your, how many SKUs do you have on your website?
I have about 70, so it's really small right now.
Mhm.
70 SKUs, and we're looking to expand this year because there's just so much more demand in categories that we want to reach. So yeah, I intentionally kept it small because I'm like a 1/2 person army. So I just wanted to make it more manageable. But this year, hopefully looking to hire more people to help me manage the website. So therefore I can, bring more SKUs and different brands on the website.
So if somebody is running a marketplace out of Shopify, and what advice would you give them to woo more people to come on your platform? So in other words, what do you do to get more people to sell on your platform?
Yeah, so before doing and running the Black owned market, I worked in corporate America, working for big brands like MTV, Viacom, Turner Broadcasting, TBS, and TNT. So I have a heavy media background and was able to learn those structures and apply them to the bomb. And my main role was user acquisition, so getting new people, new views on our website, new views on our shows, new views, new users on our applications. So for me, I would say the biggest advice was to really understand your customer so that you can effectively market to them, and understanding segmentation and your putting yourself in your customer's shoes and understanding like who they are as a person, what they do throughout their day, like what they do when they wake up, what they do, what shows they're watching, where do they shop, what cars they drive, so that you can effectively market to them in the right way.
Wonderful. Excellent. Great piece of advice from you, Michelle. Thank you very much for that. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
Spike, coming back to you, how are the numbers now? Pre-COVID, post-COVID, how is business doing?
Better since COVID because people aren't furniture shopping at stores anymore. I mean, I attribute it to that, but even before COVID, we had grown the last 2 years pretty well up until COVID, and then COVID we shot up we had another growth spurt. So I mean, I'm hopeful that COVID's changed the purchasing habits a little bit around furniture, and that will stick. But we'll see what happens. In the meantime, it's nice to get exposed to a bunch of new people and see a purchasing habits of people shift from just seeing something in person to being willing to buy something online, which is a tough call when you want to get somebody to spend $3,000-$4,000 on a piece of furniture. It's difficult in marketing to them to get them to convince them to take that leap without touching it.
Yes. So for a high ticket item like furniture, what do you advise to your audience who are selling high ticket items on their platforms? How can they sell it online?
My advice is you go and hit every place that you can find a viable buyer or traffic. So in my head, it's Pinterest, Facebook, Google, Amazon, Wayfair, Grainger. There's all these, any portal that I can put my brand on that's going to either effectively push my marketing out and or push my product out is a win for me. And it's helped a great deal in our growth across the board.
So what is your ROAS?
Return of sales?
Ad spend.
It's about 10%, 10.4.
So 10%, you mean, so let's say if you're spending $100, what's the business are you getting? So it's like 2x, 3x, 4x?
Like 5x.
5x.
Yeah.
That's good. A lot of people that I generally talk to, they generally land up in 3x or 2.5 to 3x bracket. That's great. So what do you do to get a 5x return on ad spend?
I'll tell you, it started with lookalike audiences, and I started playing with lookalike audiences in Facebook and Google. Well, Google is a little different, but in Facebook specifically, we started there, and we created a lookalike audience, and we got traction in reoccurring sales from that audience, and from there we created other lookalike audiences with larger percentages of people in the lookalike, and it just exponentially grew from there. And from those successes and creating those sales, we created new lookalike audiences from those sales, and that again created a better lookalike audience, and so on and so forth. We've also started to really get good at targeting our customer base through ad targeting on Facebook and Google. And we use, trying to think of what it is on Google. I can't remember the name of it, but it's where we're able to market on our competitors' people who click on our competitors' content end up seeing our content later on. Right? For the life of me, I can't remember what the term is in Google. But that's helped us a great deal as well, because we're able to target these people that we know, a competitor of ours is Lovesac. If somebody goes to the Lovesac website, there's a pretty good chance that they're going to be interested in our product because it's kind of the same. So being able to remarket to that person afterwards and have them on display marketing is a big help for us. And again, it brings the right kind of person to our door. And if we have the right kind of person, at that point, it's just a matter of ratios of getting them to sell. You're going to get 1 in X of them are going to buy something from you at some point.
Fabulous, Spike. That's a great learning from you. So what Spike is saying is that if you got a high ticket or whether it's low ticket, try to reach out to your customers wherever you can, all social media platforms, to YouTube, to Twitter, to every place on Facebook or Instagram, and lookalikes. Find lookalikes of lookalikes of lookalikes, forward lookalikes, backward lookalikes. Find all these people and target them with specific messages and ads to get them on your website. Great piece of knowledge and information from you, Spike. Really appreciate that. I really appreciate you sharing your secret sauce. Thank you.
Sure.
So, Mario, over to you. Where do you spend your marketing budget? What channel works for you the best? Instagram, so Facebook, Google, what works best for you?
Google, 100%. And I totally can agree with everything that Spike just said. We're following along the same things. One of the things, like for us, plant is a very sensorial buying experience. You want to touch it, you want to smell it, you want to look at it 360 degrees because they're not commodity based or product based. So they're very, very different. Each plant is unique in its own way. So, so what we have to do, one of the things we implemented was essentially we needed a salesperson to go to these people's houses because we realized that people didn't really have the knowledge to make the decision on what plants they wanted. So, and this can be applicable to many people's markets, for furniture, almost having a local interior designer, if you will, go to people's houses or walk through. But essentially, we hired a design team. We have a 3-person design team, and we sell different design packages. Our average order on our regular platform retail is about $450. So it's about as much as people can plant in a weekend. But when a designer goes out for fee and makes recommendations and creates a draft order for them, those average orders are anywhere between about 3,000 and 4,000. So we see a great return on our investment of basically finding place-based designers, and they're in every market, that are willing to do ad hoc, independent contracting for us and go to, people's houses in their community. And we find they're exponentially better when they promote themselves as a designer for Surfscape in their community, so that they draw a crowd. So what I coined it as the local celebrity. So if we can find the local celebrity, a trusted advisor in their community, people are willing to pay them for their advice, then they cut through all the other competitors' advertisements, if you will, because again, at this day and age, I believe that people are just now introducing themselves to buying plants online, and they need to have a trusted advisor, a person that they can talk to and rely on, because they are spending thousands of dollars. One other point to note is, we've only been open for 9 months, but our returning customer rate is about 27%. So a lot of people are still just testing the water to this new buying experience post-COVID world.
So people buy plants, they would be able to manage the plants. Some plants would die, some would not die. They would buy more plants. How do you keep your customers? So in this case, how do you have like a subscription model as well, where you keep supplying, let's say, plant urea or fertilizer, the plants grow better? So how do you keep your customers with you always?
I think it's just a strong frequency of interaction and connection with them, and using all the different touch points, whether it be email, Facebook, all the different social channels. And I agree, it's better to go, to me, it's better to go very wide and not as deep. So we're trying to cover a lot of area with the same content. So we're just trying to get as much mileage as we can from our content, and really put a lot of emphasis on the values that we're trying to embed in the content. So we have a value set with a lot of our content that's got to speak to the ecological something, either literacy or integrity of something. We got to talk about the cultural relevance of the plant or something. We have to talk about how it increases economic mobility. And then we have to talk about how it's going to improve something to the family, whether it's health and wellness, or maybe to the local ecology. So these are some very strong values we have to embed. And by doing that, it doesn't matter what you're selling, product or service, as long as they have already bought into the idea that you're giving them value with those core values. We feel that it enables us to really have some very authentic and honest conversations with our community.
Fabulous. Great piece of advice, Maria. I think that's a very, very wonderful thing that you've said. It's not just the plants which they are buying. They're buying a lot more. They're buying a relationship. They're buying them because they trust you. You're having a very honest and free conversation with them. They're able to trust your advice. They know that you're actually able to put a seed in their mind that this plant is going to help them prosper, or get rid of some disease, or bring in a harmony and peace at their homes. And plants are lives. They do bring in harmony, peace, and all of those stuffs in your home. And having the right advice for somebody like you makes a lot of sense.
So one of my mistakes was I rolled out with a subscription model at first, and I thought that but what I realized very quickly was that if you give them what they want in terms of these values and connectivity and growth, both mental growth and, plant life growth, then they will become repeat customers, and that is a subscribed customer. So I think we now our prices are very competitive, yet we still make great margins because we don't spend it on real estate and taxes and watering in our industry. So, but I think it's just a big misnomer that you have to have subscription service for people to come back. But that is one of our KPIs, keeping that returning customer rate really, really high.
Excellent. Fabulous, Mario. Uh, Coming back to you, Michelle. Uh, so this idea. So did you ever think of not having? So if you were not doing what you're doing, what would you have been doing?
I most likely probably would have been continuing my career in marketing and media. So I probably would have been a director or a VP by now at a big media company. So that's probably what I would have been doing.
So you know what the question I asked was is also like carry forward question. A lot of people who have cushy jobs like yourself, and they it need a lot of courage to leave those cushy jobs and move on, do something of your own. What would you advise people who have been procrastinating entrepreneurship, who have been procrastinating of starting something of their own? What would you advise them? What should they do?
Yeah, it really just came down to my happiness. So I, more than anything, just want to be at peace and I'm happy with my decisions. So it just, I think just being in corporate America and going to work every day and not really being an owner of my time was getting to my mental health. And I just didn't like the idea that I constantly had to give my time in exchange for profit and money to sustain my livelihood. So no matter how hard I had to struggle, I was going to make sure that there came a point in time where I had ownership over my time. And also, I was doing something that gave back to my community and helped other people. So those are just my values as just a person. And I had to struggle, I had to bootstrap, and I definitely had to sacrifice. But the thing that I'm most happy about is that I'm at peace with my decisions and I wake up in a better mental health state than I did when I was working for other people.
Fabulous, wonderful. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Michelle.
Yeah.
Michelle, you have about 70 SKUs. How many people are selling on your platform?
I'm sorry. How
How many-
many brands you said?
Yes,
Oh, we have about 14 brands.
14 brand.
Mhm.
And what's your customer base? How many people shop from you? Like how many? What's your email list? How many people shop from you every month, every year?
Our email list is still pretty small. It's about like 3,000.
Okay,
Um, how many people shop from us every year? I'd have to get back to you on that. Monthly, we get about 200 or so repeat customers.
Mhm. All right.
Yeah.
You share all the data with your sellers, with your brands.
No, I don't, unless they ask for it. But I don't like voluntarily share. It's just more work. Yeah,
All right, interesting.
yeah. Mhm.
How do you dice and slice the data and make it work for you?
So like I mentioned, we're a very niche brand and it's kept intentionally small. So what I do now and definitely before we raise, I look at the KPIs that matter to me most. So it's definitely number one, maybe two would be like repeat customers, and really seeing the people that come back to our site continuously, what they're looking for, what products and categories tend to be the most shopped for. Because now, as I look to bring new product offerings, I'm looking for those categories that seem to be really outperforming the others. And maybe even just taking inventory on what is not selling and not adding those products and brands that really make those products to the website.
Fabulous. Do
Mhm.
you know which customers are never gonna come back to you again?
Do I know? Not necessarily, because that's not my focus.
Okay, so so you are not focusing on the losing customer, on the customers you're losing. Are you saying that?
Not necessarily. I'm mostly focusing on the people that are shopping and the high, and obviously the higher basket size customers, so the people that spend the most.
Mhm. Interesting. Are you aware about your repeat purchase rate?
Yeah, so I'm at about 23% right now.
To 20%?
Yeah.
Interesting. Wonderful. Thank you so much for that, Michelle.
Mhm.
Very
Yeah,
much.
no problem.
Spike, coming back to you. In these times, if somebody want to start their business, what two advice, somebody want to start their business online to sell something, what are two important advices would you give them?
Find something that is unique. I know that's cliche, but find something that find a purpose or serve a purpose that people aren't currently having served, or find a way to do it differently than anybody else, because you want to stand out somehow. And then two, do something that you want to do every day when you wake up and go to work. This is the simplest, easiest ways I could say that.
Makes sense. Makes sense. I think in our lives we try to complicate a lot of things, and the answer lies in the most simple things, as you said. So, Spike, are you also a data person? Do you get into data?
Somewhat, sure. I
So
mean, I
what
wouldn't call myself an expert, but
what kind of data analysis do you do?
I spend a lot of time looking. I look at the analytics through Shopify. I look at Google's analytics. I am constantly I'm looking at traffic conversions. I'm looking at, I'm constantly interested in add to carts, the frequency of that, how many abandoned checkouts we have, what the nature of those are. I'm constantly looking at that situation. What else do I look at? Then our social media presence, I also quite a bit monitor how and what our ads in social media are doing, and just our posts. And by that, it helps me kind of gauge the reaction and what style and is the most effective way to reach customers. So a lot of, just as an aside, because I do think analytics run a business basically. And when it comes to marketing, we spend a lot of time doing split testing on different variations of ads, messaging, to zero in on the exact right place and the right person at the right time. And it takes time, and it takes time and sometimes money to do that, but it becomes very effective in creating a funnel that's efficient in getting people to your doorstep and just convert on a regular basis, which is really the thing you want in a business like this. Is something that you could wake up in the morning and know, I'm going to have some sales. That's the greatest feeling in the world.
Fabulous. Spike. Spike, one more question to you. Since you have been doing this for a very long time in the online business, in the online world, how do you make your customers your fans? So like customers come and go, clients stay with you a little longer, and fans love you. So from customer to fan, how do you?
I'll take customer service. That's how we create fans. Our customer service experience, and then this in general goes for any business I've ever run online. I feel like the amount of effort you put into your customers and the amount of communication and the amount of taking care of their wants, needs, and desires returns itself 100-fold to you, because if they're happy with that buying experience, whether it's them returning, and we're talking furniture that's big, like a sectional. I don't get a lot of return customers in the next month or two. It might be a couple of years, but what happens is because they're fans, they'll tell their family about it, and we'll oftentimes see customers that turn into fans posting on social media our furniture with their pets and stuff like that, and then tagging their friends and saying, you should put one of these in your guest bedroom. And that in itself becomes great, because then those people reach out to us and tell us, so-and-so, told us about it. And also another big thing we try to do is we're really big on giving coupons, and we give coupons to friends, we give coupons to new customers. but we want people to kind of get a sense that they're making some money or getting a rebate and getting a good deal, while at the same time kind of controlling how much money we're willing to go less on a product. And customers love that. They appreciate that kind of service and that kind of talking to them and giving them those type of things.
Thank you so much, Spike, for that. Really. Mario, coming to you. So when you're hiring people, what do you look for?
Real easy, just hard work, passion, and creativity. I mean, both those three things. That's where I'm at with that.
So, hard work, creativity, and passion. Why? There are so these are some values. Basically, being hardworking is a right value. Creative is more of capability, less of value, and passion is of course is a value. So there are a lot of values people have. So what are the core values that are working for you in your business, or what are the two things most important in your business that are working for you?
Well, I mean, pick two out of those three. I mean, because like where we are, we're so new. I mean, I deal a lot with babies, right? I had my first child the same week we launched, or same week I started Surfscape. Started working on the product, and then I have a baby. He got a new baby yesterday, so I have a lot of development skills, And so if we can start with a good foundational passion for what we're doing and building this beautiful and resilient landscapes, and they're willing to work hard, and they have the fortitude to be creative. I feel like those three variables, we can accomplish anything together. We can accomplish at least the goals or the mission of Surfscape together. And I think between those three, I've never had anybody be not the right fit. So that's worked for us so far.
Fabulous, wonderful. So what Mario is saying, that it's important to look for people with right values, and for him the right values are being creative, being hardworking, and being passionate about what you're doing. If somebody has right values, you can always give them capabilities and they will fly. Giving capabilities is no big deal. You teach them, they will gather it and they'll fly.
Yeah, and I kind of at different phases of startups, I've started up a few other things before. I found that my leadership skills are required, or my different leadership skills are required of me at different phases of the business. So when business is slow, when business is fast, different maturation levels of the business require me to be different types of leader. Right now, where I am, because we have a really strong team, all independent contractors at this moment, but there's about 12 of them that are working anywhere from about 10 to 30 hours a week. I've found myself being a gap filler. So I find that if they're honest and trustworthy and they really disclose their passions and pursuits to me, and again, they're going to be using their creative and hardworking genes, then I can fill the gaps where they don't do well. So I'm actually trying to lead from the back of the pack right now and allow them the autonomy and the space and the freedom to make design decisions for our company at this point in time. But it's up to me to be self-aware and adjust as our company needs it. So usually during the busy times, it requires me to carry a heavier stick and sort of guide a little bit more. Sometimes I call it bumper lane versus the gutter ball kind of thing, just try to keep people kind of focused on the main missions, because sometimes it can kind of go in a way that I know will not be successful. But yeah, those are just some of my notes on finding the right employee and leadership.
Do you believe in the concept of hiring people who are smarter than you?
Well, yeah, I think there's probably a middle ground. I think that you really need to have, I hire people that are willing to collaborate, because there's going to be certainly skills that I'm going to have more experience with, and I'm certainly hire them. But I think that there's a lot of paternalistic metaphors that we can use here. When you're sort of bringing somebody along, and then the company is maturing and so forth. But I think one of the best ways to kind of look at whether or not you're trying to hire them to lead you, or you're leading them, I think at the end of the day, you're really looking for a team approach, a comprehensive, collaborative team approach, and knowing when to step up and when to step back, when to step forward, when to step back. So I'm really kind of very focused on those types of evaluation techniques of asserting what to do now, because we have all the data analytics there is. I mean, we know those things, and we can make those decision points, but the social dynamics, that's where I think there's a lot of fun sort of discovery still left to do in the social dynamics of team dynamics. So it's been a lot of fun.
Excellent. Great conversation, Mario. Great thoughts. Great conversation. Thank you so much for that. Guys, thank you so much. Thank you very much. In this last round, if you have a question to a fellow speaker, you can shoot now.
Well, I thought what both Michelle and what Spikes were talking about, and their platforms is really, I agree with a lot of them. So there was a lot of piggyback moments. But I wanted to also explain to or share with Michelle so many opportunities. I think that, with, supporting Black enterprises is through all these different vehicles: food, products, cultural experiences. Have you found, or do you feel you have a good handle on how to intake maybe a startup, maybe a business that hasn't come to bear yet, and then be almost like a pre-incubator for them? Do you see your marketplace almost incubating new businesses before they've even launched? And I was just curious about that and that community, if you're working with them, because I find it really fascinating.
Yeah, that's definitely something that I look forward to being, because I think people naturally come to me as someone that is like their advocate. So a lot of the businesses that are on our marketplace have been in business for less than like 3 years. So they're very new. In addition to that, there's a new space that I'm entering where there's a lot of big department stores that we know that have been around for years that are looking to also have more Black-owned brands on their shelves. So I'm also consulting and working on ways that I can provide that sort of expertise to these bigger box retailers as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Great. Guys, thank you very much. I cannot, for lack of words, please accept my sincere thanks. It was great talking to all three of you. Thank you for being such a giver. I mean, it feels great when you're giving something. I mean, it feels great when you're a giver. Nobody likes to be a taker. If you are a taker, you'll always walk bent, your shoulders will be bent. But if you're a giver, you'll always walk your chest up and your head up. So thanks for being a giver, for giving and giving away your secret sauce, your knowledge. People can use this today more than ever, more than ever before. So I would like to thank you again. I will touch base with you again. I'll send you an email connecting three of you, and then you can connect with your three of you can connect among yourself on LinkedIn, wherever you want to connect. And let's be in touch. We are doing this session more than ever, and we'll get back to you when you're doing our next sessions. And if you have time, we'll have to chat with you again. Thank you so much, guys, and take care of yourself. Have a fantastic week ahead.
Thank
Have
you,
a nice week.
everyone. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye-bye.